This episode of the Jamaican Mommies Show is brought to you by Kai Kits, one convenient kit with all the items you need to be clean and healthy on the go. Grab one today. Contact Kai Kits at Kai Health Kits on Facebook and Instagram. Kai Kits, be clean, be healthy.
Greetings everyone, welcome to Wagwan. This is Shanoy, founder for Jamaican Mommies, and today we are kicking off the Jamaican Mommies Show with a quite an interesting interview. Today we'll be talking real estate and you with a Jamaican mommy and a real estate broker, Paula Roper-Bacchas from Paula Sells Jamaica. So Paula has her own real estate company and she already shares quite a number of tips with people across many different platforms. So we're quite honored today that she will be sharing with us the Jamaican Mommies Network with all the things you need to know about real estate. So just a little bit of background. I know Paula for quite a while ago. So years ago when we started our very first Jamaican Mommies picnic, I believe it was Hope Gardens, Paula. Paula was one of our very first patrons. She came with her family and she has been very consistent then. And so later on, I found out the line of work that she has been in. So everything really comes full circle. And so I'm really honored, Paula, to be talking to you in this space in terms of real estate and you, and really anything else that persons may want to ask. So, throughout this interview as we go along as well, if there are any specific questions you have that you feel we may not have touched on, feel free to leave us a comment. So I don't want to go too much further without first asking Paula to tell us a bit about herself.
Okay, thank you so much, Shanoy, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been in real estate. Well, I'm a mom of one, but I also assisted with raising my brother. When my mom passed away many, many years ago. So, so I am a mom of one. I have a son. His name is Jack. And he loves coming to your picnics when you do have them before the pandemic. Yes, I'm married to my husband, Raman. We have been married for over 12 years now, and my son is 8.
Okay,
and my son is 8, yeah.
All right, so great. But one of the first things, Paula, like within the Jamaican Mommies Network, we have moms, of course, they're striving towards home ownership. Some of them are single parents, some of them are within relationships. But one of the key questions that comes out all the time, if it's me alone, can I get access to a loan or go through the process of actually acquiring real estate as a single applicant?
Okay, so as it pertains to that, a lot of clients that I do have are single parents, single moms. They purchase real estate all the time by themselves. I've actually sold, like some of my best clients are single moms. Professionals, I have clients that work in corporate Jamaica. I have clients who have their own businesses, children of all different age ranges, younger children, older children. I work with a lot of moms. Majority of my clientele are women, and a lot of the professional women, they can afford a substantial mortgage on their own, and they purchase properties that a lot of couples can't purchase. So so I deal with a lot of moms. I guide them through the process. A lot of them are first time homeowners that I have come into contact with, because I used to have a lot of first time home buyer seminars, and a lot of single ladies would come, single moms. They would come to the seminars where I'd guide them through the process of buying real estate. And because of the educational aspect that I normally bring to my career, a lot of persons who are novice. Yeah, so a lot of my clientele are moms, single ladies. I deal with a lot of couples as well, but I always get the question, can single parents purchase real estate? And I'm always, yes, as long as you can afford it, you have made the necessary financial steps to afford it. I remember a few years ago, I was dealing with this lady. She was in her 50s, single mother, never purchased before. Her son had been out in the workforce for less than 5 years, and they had put together, and mother and son actually purchased a home together. They were not the biggest earners, but they came together along with NHT. The mom was able to qualify for a grant from the National Housing Trust, and that combined with her son, they were able to purchase their first home ever, and she was over 50.
Awesome and quite encouraging rather, because people have very different circumstances, and so they would want to be considering how that works as well. So, but one of the key questions that we have had coming out as well is in terms of the real estate process, what does it include? So there are people there, they're thinking, say, boy, I'm tired of the rent, it's about time, I have my kids, whether or not it's me and my spouse, we want to really get our own asset in terms of housing, and they're thinking, I want to start, but I really don't know where to start. Can you just take us a little bit through what the real estate process entails?
Okay, number one, in my book, and I always, 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 no matter if you're a woman, a man, I always say start here, and it's to become pre-qualified for the mortgage. Majority of us are not able to purchase cash. We didn't have a windfall or a large inheritance, or maybe mommy and daddy gave us the money, so we have to get a mortgage to purchase. So I would say number one step is to go into a financial institution, whether that is the National Housing Trust or a bank or another financial institution like a credit union. You go in there and you submit your necessary paperwork um, to be pre-qualified for a mortgage. Once you've gotten the pre-qualification process done, then I would say, okay, if you're pre-qualified for $10 million, you would have to make sure that you have your necessary deposit. So if the institution that you're going to purchase the home through, let's say for example you're going through Jamaica National or NCB, Scotiabank, Victoria Mutual, there's a wide range that you can go through. Your deposit would be 10% because those institutions only offer 90% financing. Well, the current deals that are going on now are 90%. So in the past, you've had, especially Jamaica National has given up to 110% financing. So that's another story for another day. But basically, you could get the 90% at the mortgage rate. 10% would be a loan for your deposit at the loan interest rate, and then you could get another 10% to purchase, like if you want to purchase appliances or furnishings for your home, you could get that at a loan rate. But majority of the times financial institutions only give you 90%. So if you get 90%, you have to come up with your 10% deposit. So just for easy math, let's say that you're purchasing a house for $20 million and you're by yourself, but you qualify for that amount. You would need $2 million for your deposit. So number one, you got qualified for your mortgage, and number two, you would have saved your deposit. So you need to have your deposit. So step two is two prongs. So you have to have your 10% deposit if you are going through a financial institution. Let's say you're going through NHT. It's very difficult for a single person to go through NHT alone because the maximum per person is 6.5 million Jamaican dollars.
Oh, okay.
And if you ask me, what can $6.5 million get you in Jamaica? The answer would be almost nothing.
Okay.
Almost nothing. It can get you almost nothing. So I deal with a lot of spouses that join together. So you get 6.5, your spouse gets six, or your partner get 6.5, and you put that together, you have $13 million. And you might say to me again, Paula, what can $13 million get you in Jamaica? I would say a little bit above nothing.
Ah,
A little bit. All right. It depends. It depends on where you want
to be
to
as well.
purchase. If you
Yes.
want to purchase in St. Andrew, 13 million is not going to get you to a nice community,
It probably can
unfortunately.
help with just land purchase.
Repeat?
I'm saying it probably will just help you with land purchase.
Yes, that would help you, but NHT is very particular. NHT only gives $2.5 million
Land.
per person to purchase land alone. So if you and your partner come together to purchase land, you only have $5 million,
Okay.
right? So the 13 million is to buy on the open market and to buy a home, to buy a house,
Yes.
right? So majority of persons, when they get pre-qualified for their NHT, they get what is called an eligibility letter. It simply speaks to how much you're qualified to borrow. Number two, the interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
how long you have to pay it back, right? So those are the most important things that you should look for on your eligibility letter. So it tells you how much you'd get, how long that mortgage would be, and how long you get to pay it back, right? And the interest rate.
Wanted to ask something in relation to that, Paula, because when you're talking about getting pre-qualified and having your deposit, this is irrespective of the kind of employment category you're in. So whether it is that you're self-employed, whether you're employed to a company, whether you're nearing retirement, etc., you still need to start off by getting pre-qualified.
Everything I'm telling you is the bare bones, is the basic. On no matter if you are not anything, this is where you start. This is basic. This is purchasing real estate in Jamaica 101. So get pre-qualified for your loan and have your deposit ready and available. So okay, so you have gotten pre-qualified, you qualify for 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
You have your $2 million deposit, right? Cash. Not, oh, I'm gonna sell my car or I'm gonna sell this, that, and that. We need the money in an account
And the
and ready to go so that when you find that house that you want to purchase, you can start to move right now. So I'm still on number two, in that once you have that $2 million deposit, right? That's 10%. I would also say you need another 5%. So in all, I would tell you that you need 15%. The additional 5% is going to be, let's get them, like, I don't, if you want to put them up on the screen. Number one, your attorney's fees.
okay.
Attorney's fees are normally 3%. So 3% of the $20 million, right?
Okay.
You need that. So you need your stamp duty. Stamp duty is $5,000. However, it is split evenly between the seller and the purchaser of the property. So you would pay 2,500 and the seller would pay 2,500 for the stamp duty. So you have the attorney at 3%, your stamp duty is 2,500% per person, 5,000 in total.
Mhm.
You would need your fees for your valuation and your surveyor's identification report. So those fees are 0.3% of the value of the property. So
Okay.
if it is $20 million, it is 0.3% of $20 million for your surveyor's identification report and 0.3% for your valuation report,
Oh,
right?
okay. All right, so I'm putting that somewhere. So I've been typing as you go along. So that's very
Yes.
useful information. But this is still a part of step
Of
two,
step,
having your
we're
deposit.
still on step two. We're not done yet. And
Oh,
your registration fees. So your
okay.
registration fees are 0.25%
Okay.
of the cost of the property.
0.25%.
Of the for your registration fee.
Okay.
So you have that?
Yes, I have that all taken down. So it will
And
appear on
we're
the screen
still
before
not done. We still have to have a little extra for any miscellaneous fees
ah,
that may be included. So we still need, that's why I say 15%, so 10% for your deposit and another 5%. But
okay.
sometimes I see people have to find an additional 6 or 7%,
Mhm.
depending on all of the fees that are associated with the institution that they're getting the mortgage from.
Okay.
Because some of those institutions will roll this expense into the mortgage,
Mhm.
and some will expect you to pay it upfront.
Okay, understood. And the
Yeah.
miscellaneous fees, what percentage, Paula?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
I was talking to an attorney recently, and she was telling me to ask my clients to put aside possibly $10,000 to $20,000 just for
Miscellaneous.
miscellaneous fees. Miscellaneous fees are like random fees that
Mhm.
you'll be asked to pay along the way. It all varies, but every sale, I tell persons, is like a fingerprint. Every finger, if you fingerprint all of the fingers of all the people in the world, you'll never come up back with the same fingerprint.
Yes.
We're just unique like that. Every sale is different. Some sales are just snaps. They're just like, if you quint, you would have missed them from start to finish. And some, they drag on. The longest sale I've ever done took 12 months to
Wow.
complete.
An entire year. A baby could be born
An
and more.
entire year. So, what I want to also point out to your audience is that when you're using a mortgage to purchase, the purchasing time can be between 90 to 120 days,
Ah,
right? And this is if everything runs smoothly with your mortgage and there's no, when you do your surveyor's identification report, there is no breaches, no encumbrances on the property. The property is good, right? This is in the 90 to 120 days. But if you have any issues, if there's any breaches, encumbrances, or anything like that, we're going to
mhm.
add on some time to the 90 to 120 days. In the best case scenario, that everything runs
As
smoothly.
usual. Okay.
Yeah, that is like the perfect
Scenario.
purchase,
Okay.
right? So if you are purchasing with cash, I know there might be some mommies on here who can purchase cash. Um, you determine as the purchaser how long that process will take. So if you have your money in the bank or in your pocket, wherever you have it, and you see a house and you want to buy it, and you just have to write your check or transfer the funds, it can take 30 days. I've seen them take as little as 15 days, right?
Okay.
But when you have the cash, a lot of variables are taken out of the equation. So
Yeah.
when you're going through a mortgage, you have to work by the mortgage company. You have to do a lot of paperwork. You have to wait on signatures. You have to send it here, there, and everywhere for everything to be processed. So the time stretches out when you're doing a mortgage. But if you're purchasing with cash, you can tell the sellers that you want to complete the sale in 30 days. And from you sign the sales agreement and you pay your deposit, that 30 days starts to run. So at the end of that 30 days, you pay, or you would have already paid your deposit when you sign the sales agreement, and the purchaser, this you and the seller sign. Then that 30 days starts to run. At the end of 30 days, you'll be required to pay the remainder 90% of the purchase price. Your title would be transferred into your name and you have bought your house. However, when you're going through a mortgage, it's totally different.
So quite a bit of information there, and just in terms of purchase, not just thinking, oh, as soon as I go and make a deposit, I'll necessarily get my house right away or the process will be completed. So that's
Yeah.
awesome, Paula. So we got quite a bit packed into step two. So we have
Mm,
step one, you get pre-qualified. Step two, you prepare your deposit and your additional funds. So you're recommending 15%, have 15% of the property value ready.
at minimum. At
At,
minimum.
and so what would step three be?
Step three would be to contact I would say contact me and we could
Okay.
start your house hunt. So step three would be to contact your preferred real estate agent, and they're gonna ask you for proof of funds. That is your pre-qualification letter. When I'm dealing with persons who are not purchasing cash, when I deal with cash, if you want to purchase a house for $20 million and you give me a bank statement that has your 20,000, $20 million. Did I say 20,000 or 20 million?
1,000, but you, I know you're talking 20 million. You
Yeah,
said
so okay. So
20
let me correct that. So you come to me and you're a cash buyer and you want to purchase a house for $20 million. All you would need to do is to give me proof of funds, which is a bank statement or a letter from your bank manager or a letter from your attorney verifying that you have this amount in cash and
million.
you're ready to go. So once you can give me that information, that documentation and your identification, there's a customer information form that I would have you complete, and a proof of address and your TRN. So no matter if you're locally here, you live here or you live overseas, everyone who does real estate business in Jamaica needs to have a TRN. So those are documents I collect on the front end so that when we actually find you the property, we don't have to be running around the place trying to get these documents secured. All right. So
Okay.
if you are going with a mortgage and you call me, I would say to you, Shanoy, do you we would set up what is called a home buyers consultation. So I
Mhm.
would either meet with you on Zoom or we would do this over the telephone, whichever one suits you best. And we would discuss the process of purchasing a house here in Jamaica, and I would tell you, I would send you an email with the documentation that I would need. The documentation that I would need is the pre qualification letter or the eligibility letter from the National Housing Trust. I would need your identification. I would also need to see proof of funds as it pertains to your deposit. So if you're going to go and do a joint mortgage financing through the National Housing Trust and another financial institution, I would need to see that documentation, and I'd also need to see your deposit. So if you're purchasing a house for $20 million, I would need to see your that you have that amount in cash in an account ready to go. So I would get that pre-qualification letter. I would get your proof of deposit. I would get your identification, your a copy of your TRN if you did not use your driver's license as identification,
Mhm.
and I would send you the customer information form for you to complete it and send it back to me.
Okay.
So we collected the documents, we did the consultation. I program you into my website and I send you properties matching your search once they come available. So a lot of people have an issue in Jamaica where they go onto the websites and they see a property that they believe would have been perfect for them. However, they see under offer or under contract on
Yeah.
the property, and when they call the real estate company, they're notified that that property is no longer available because someone has already made an offer, gotten an acceptance, and is in the process of purchasing that property. So to
Ah,
avoid that, I program persons into my website. My
okay.
website is www.paulasellsjamaica.com. So even if you go to my website, you can send me a quick message there, and we can do what I just described previously, and we would program you into the website. So once properties become available, like if they are available at 12 o'clock, I would send you, or it would be an automated email where you're
Okay.
notified at 12:01. So this helps you to be one of the very first persons to view available properties. And it also helps you when it comes time to viewing the properties, you would be one of the first persons to view the properties. And possibly, if you want to purchase the property, you would be one of the first persons to make an offer to purchase the
Okay.
property.
So,
And I
so
hmm?
no, go ahead, and then I have a
I can
follow up.
tell you a little joke about that. When this system was new, this was new early days when I became a real estate agent. So I had a client who had been working with this buyer. She was a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her son was in UE at the time, and she worked at one of those big automobile companies, like insurance companies.
Okay.
I don't want to call the name, but she's a single mom. She had sold her house in Portmore. She had bought in Portmore because it was affordable, and she's a single mom, but she had to travel into Kingston, and she didn't like it, so she sold her house in Portmore and was looking for 4 years. She came back into Kingston and was renting for 4 years. She worked with, I think when she finally contacted me, I was like maybe her sixth agent she had been working with. And all over this 4 years, no agent had ever programmed her into their website. So when she contacted me and I did my home buyers consultation with her, I said to her, let me program you into my website.
Okay.
She was dumbfounded. She was like, what's this website thing? And I explained it to her. And she was like, oh, you're like my sixth agent, and this is the first time I've heard about this website. So I had been working, I don't think she minds if I call her name, Dion. I've been working with Dion. If she ever sees this, she's a Jamaican mommy. I don't know if she follows you guys because her son is grown now. He's out of UE working. I keep in touch with all my clients. So I talk to her all the time. But Dion called me, and we did all the steps that I described to you. She called me, and I set her up into my website. And within, I'm not gonna tell you a lie, Shanoy, she had been looking for 4 years. And within 2 weeks, we submitted an offer on a house.
That's awesome.
I was actually showing another property in Spanish Town that I was selling. I think the valuer, I was there with the valuer, opening up the property for this other single mom that I worked with.
Okay.
She works at NCB to to do her processing. She was buying it as an investment property. She's bought a few properties through me, and single moms can buy multiple properties.
Yeah.
Okay, don't
And
get it
we've
twisted.
started the year off, and it's the time to visualize and actualize what we want. So I just want to just plug in, as you rightly said, that shout out to
Yeah,
her there. Just don't believe that because you're probably
you're a
doing it
single
on your
mom
own,
or whatever,
you're
you
not
can't
in
achieve
a
these
relationship
goals.
content that you can't, have home ownership. So preach it, sister.
Yeah, so Dion, back to Dion now. She called me while I was on the road. But remember, I tell you that my website is automated. So
Okay.
she got the notification. I didn't know anything about this property. She got the notification while I was busy working. I was on the road showing and dealing with properties. And she called me up and she said, Paul, I just saw the property you sent me. And I was like, remember our little conversation, Dion? I don't really see all of the properties I sent to her because she was she was ready to go. So I didn't want to. I can hold back properties and review them for my clients before I send it out to them. But if I know you're just rearing to go and you want to see everything that is available, I will just release the website to you, and you can even go in there and manipulate the website and change your search. So
Oh,
Dion got the notification before I had even put eyes on the property. And she called me and she was like, Paul, I want to see this property now. Like right now. So the property came on the market at like 11 o'clock. She got the notice 11:01. And she called me straight away when she reviewed it. She was at work and she told me that she wanted to see it. So I called up the listing agent and I told him that that was about 11 o'clock. She said she'd leave work early and go and look at the property at 3 o'clock. So I left what I was doing in Spanish Town, ran back to Kingston, showed her the property at 3 o'clock. We stood up in front of the house, pressed against my car, wrote up an offer, and she got acceptance before 6 o'clock that night because already had the documents. We already had everything. We had our proof of funds, we had our eligibility letter, everything was there. So there was no need to go and run. Oh,
the
Dion, I need this, I need
latest.
that. You understand? Everything was there. It was in my Dropbox. So all I had to do was print it out. And I have a mobile printer. So
Oh,
you plug it into your outlet in your car, and you insert the paper and you print out whatever you need to print out, like those offers, right? So we printed out the offer, signed it off, gave it to the listing agent. The owner accepted it on spot. We went full 100 on the list price because while we were there leaning up against the car, other people were arriving to view the property. So we were like, we're not gonna chance it. Dion has been waiting
too
for
long.
like 4 years to buy this house, right? So long story short, the owner accepted the offer. We went to contract. I think that was the Wednesday. Contract was at her attorney's office by the Friday. Dion signed and paid her deposit on the Friday, right? The Saturday morning, would you believe that the listing agent called me and said, oh, we got multiple offers above asking. But guess what, Shanoy? They couldn't accept them.
Because they already
Because
had
they already accepted our.
and just listening to this story from you, Paula, it just brings into focus because there have been several times, for example, where you rightly say you see a property, and by the time you even call your realtor to say, all right, I want to view the property, they say, oh, it's gone. And the thing is that maybe it just hasn't been updated on the system yet, or the process is happening. So you see something available and you say, oh, I want to see this, but it's already there. And I wanted
I
this,
just showed with you the trick. I just
yeah,
showed you the trick. It's a magic trick because that lady could have sold that property for like $3,000 more than what she sold it for if it wasn't because we were on the ball. Because she thought that, it's a full price offer. Nobody else is gonna offer more. You
yes,
understand? And
it was.
people did offer more.
So I have a question on that though, Paula. So on two fronts, because just
Mhm.
listening to you, and I wanted to ask a question about at what point in the process do you start looking at properties? But from what you're saying, you look to begin with to get an idea of the budget that you're working with, and then you also look once your documents are in. Is that
No, no. All right. If you just like what I said, step one is to get pre-qualified financials. Like, don't even look outside. Don't do it to yourself because everybody wants to live in cherry gardens. And chances are only 1%, 2% of us can afford cherry gardens. All right. So my thing is to let people be educated and know. So, all right, if you can only afford Portmore, it's gonna be Portmore unless you have a plan on affording Cherry Gardens, or you might step like my friend Dion, she bought in Portmore. It didn't work out for her. She didn't love it. So she sold, and then she increased her income, increased her affordability, and then she was able to afford a very nice community, right? Because she had cash, she had NHT, and she had to get another loan from NCB. So she had cash, she did that, and she did a joint financing to afford that house. So she put up millions of dollars in cash,
So
and
she
she
had a
still.
plan. She was well
Yes.
for
So
her.
if we had started looking, right, before Dion had sorted out her financials, we would have been in trouble. Number one, she would be very disappointed when she found a house in Cherry Gardens that she loved, and then she realized she can't afford Cherry Gardens.
So it's perfect. And as you rightly say, so you start off with your pre-approval because that helps you to see what your budget is. So what does step 4 look like?
Oh well, we were going through them with Dion, So when you start the process, the Dion example I gave you. So
Yeah.
when you start the process, so you have your pre-qualification, you have your deposit, you have your closing cost, which is the additional 5 to 7%,
Mhm.
and then you start to look at houses. Once you look at the house, we're at number 3.
Yes.
So we do the consultation, we start to look at the houses. Number 4, you put in your offer on the house that you love, and hopefully we get an accepted offer the first time.
Yeah.
I have tricks and trades about getting, like, this market. I'm gonna be honest. I don't hold on to properties. Especially in the corporate area,
Hmm.
we price them. All right, so there's a lot of things that I would have to base towards a seller, because I my strong suit is selling, but I work with a lot of buyers as well. And what happens is that a lot of buyers buy my properties. So I a lot of times I'm on both end of the deal. But what I need to explain to you is that when you're purchasing, right? You have to come prepared, especially if you're purchasing in the corporate area, Kingston, or St. Andrew, and or St. Catherine. So those are the high demand areas, and you have to come prepared because Jamaica has a very, very bad housing problem. We are short on houses. I have 600 people in my database up to this morning, right? 600 buyers.
Wow.
I am one agent. There's like 3,000 or more agents island wide. I'm only one agent, and I have 600 buyers. 550 of them are looking within the corporate area to St. Catherine, right?
Yes.
So when they're working with me, I have to be competing with the other 3,000 agents that are in Jamaica to make my buyers get the properties. And the secret of it, without giving it all away, there's other secrets that
Yeah.
you'll learn, but the main secret of mine is the.
So, on this week's episode of the Jamaican Mommies Show, we want to give a shout out to author Davina Hamilton, who writes the books Riley Can Be Anything and Riley Knows He Can. In Riley Knows He Can, Riley struggles with his appearance in an upcoming school play. He continues to doubt himself, but with the support of his dad and his sister, Riley is continuously encouraged to in fact do his very best in the play. At the end of the day, Riley does an excellent job and proves to himself that yes, he can. In Riley Can Be Anything, Riley worries about what he wants to be when he grows up. But with the help of Cousin Joe, Riley is taken on a journey with many different career paths that he can consider when he is an adult. At the end of the day, Riley decides that he can in fact be anything. So be sure to grab your copy of these books by author Davina Hamilton and connect with her on Instagram at books_by Davina. And before we go, the proverb of the day by Grandma Jul.
Every day bucket go well. One day, if I must drop out.
If every day the bucket goes to the well, one day the bottom will fall out. What this means is that if you repeatedly take the same risk, eventually it may end in disaster. Thank you for tuning in to the Jamaican Mommies Show. I'm your host, Shanoy. Please remember to subscribe here to Jamaican Mommies on YouTube and turn your notifications on so you do not miss an episode. Also, connect with Jamaican Mommies on Facebook and Jamaican Mommies on Instagram. We're also available at www.JamaicanMommies.com. Thank you so much as well to our sponsor for this episode at Kai Health Kits. So see you next time and tune in for yet another episode of the Jamaican Mommies Show.